Hello, my name is Aubrey. Today I thought it might be fun to do the Unpopular Opinions book tag. Who doesn't love a little bit of tea? I don't really know how unpopular my opinions truly are. I definitely struggled with several of these questions, but regardless, I guess let's just go through and you can decide for yourself if my opinions are super controversial or unpopular. Question number 1 is a popular book or series that you didn't like. There are so many. ACOTAR, The Mortal Instruments, I read all of those books. Vampire Academy, the Poppy War trilogy, Death Note, and I guess most recently Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm sorry. Okay, question number 2, a popular book or series that everyone else seems to hate, but you love. This is a very difficult question because I feel like I literally couldn't pick out a book that I thought was, sort of universally hated that I loved. I picked 2 books that I think were just more like they got mixed reviews or I've seen them get negative reviews. Anyway, the first book I have is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. When this book came out, I feel like especially a lot of really die-hard Sanderson fans didn't quite know what to make of this, and the main criticism that I saw was that the main character felt too young even for YA. She was just very immature and they didn't like her and they thought she was annoying. And I gave this book 5 stars. I truly loved this when I read it and I really enjoyed the main character. She is immature, but I think that's what I liked about her. She felt like an actual teenager. She reminded me a lot of some friends that I had in middle school and like freshman year of high school, so I didn't feel like she was too immature. I felt like she was right at the age she was supposed to be, and also having her be really immature gave her a lot of room to grow throughout the story. So anyway, I really loved Skyward, and the second book I have picked out is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. I read this very recently. Again, I don't think this is like a universally hated book. I've seen this on lots of people's favorite lists, but I think it is also getting a lot of very mixed reception. The Goodreads rating is only a 3.7, which is like alarmingly low. To me, I just think this book is so good. Again, this was a whopping 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic, and I guess other people are not feeling that way. Question number 3 is a love triangle where the main character ended up with the person you did not want them to end up with. Now, I'll be honest, this doesn't typically happen to me. I generally ship whoever the author wants me to ship. I feel like a lot of authors are not as subtle as they think they are in terms of like who the end game is. Typically, I guess I tend to go along with whatever direction the author is pointing me in. However, the Remnant Chronicles trilogy by Mary E. Pearson, no spoilers. Our main character does not end up with who I wanted her to end up with. And I will say that Mary E. Pearson really toys with you. Throughout this book, I genuinely had no idea which way the romance was gonna go. Like I felt like it could go either way. She strings you along until the last page. She really does. She draws it out. I mean, ultimately, our main character does not end up with who I was shipping her with. I was fine with how it ended. Like, I didn't hate the other guy. I was really enjoying her chemistry with the other one. So yeah, the Remnant Chronicles. And then I also wanted to add here a TV show ship. Spoilers for Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you haven't seen that show, I don't know what you're doing with your life and you need to stop right now and go watch it immediately. But just skip ahead if you haven't seen it and you don't want spoilers. But I am a diehard Katara and Zuko shipper. I mean, I will die on this hill. I think that not only do they have excellent chemistry, but thematically them ending up together would have been perfect, and I'll never get over it. I love that show, but I will never get over it. A popular book genre that you hardly reach for. I mean, this would be any genre outside of fantasy, sci-fi, and horror. This is my little bubble. This is what I like to read. Not that I've never ventured outside of it, obviously, but I don't really want to read anything else. I am an adult, I'm in charge of myself, and I get to do what I want. So yeah, I mean, contemporary romance, literary fiction, historical fiction. I mean, there are books over the years that have definitely caught my eye and that I thought like, oh, one day I'll read that, one day I'll get around to that. But every time I sit down to read, I'm pulling a fantasy book off the shelf. Maybe that will change in the future, but as of now, I'm happy simply reading my favorite genres. A popular or beloved character that you do not like. This one I really struggled with. Again, I don't know how unpopular or controversial this is, but Delilah Bard from the Shades of Magic series, she has grown on me through the course of the series. Like, there are moments when I do genuinely like her a lot and I think that she's just a cool badass, but there are other moments where I just want to like shake her. She's a classic not like other girls type of girl. I think she literally says that at one point in book 2. So she just at times can be a very eye-rolly, exasperating character. I feel like she just excels at everything she tries. She's never humbled. She never learns any lessons. She's just kind of like trailblazing through the story in her own fiery way. And sometimes I like that and sometimes I don't. Okay, question number 6 is a popular author that you can't seem to get into, and for this I've chosen Sarah J. Maas. Now, I've only read one series, it was the ACOTAR series, but I did read them all. While I'm not giving up, like I do want to try the Throne of Glass series and I do want to try House of Earth and Blood, I have this sneaking suspicion that she's not going to be for me. Ultimately, I want her to be though, like desperately I want her to be. Like I want to be a Sarah J. Maas girly, simply for the fact that I don't think there's anybody bigger in the fantasy space right now. I mean, maybe you could argue that George R.R. Martin still has that level of like fame and popularity, but since the show, you know, the Game of Thrones show is over and everybody's like angry that he hasn't written any more books, like I don't know, Sarah J. Maas is up there. And I just think it is so fun to have books in common with lots of other people. When people who don't read are reading ACOTAR, that's cool. Like, say what you will, and I have said what I will about her books, like that is cool, and books that can get people to read who normally wouldn't, I like that, and I want to be a part of that, and I want to be able to go up to people and be like, have you read this series? It's amazing, right? And then we can like gush and giggle about it together. Like that's what I want. I want the camaraderie that comes with an author of her size. And again, I just have this terrible feeling that she is not going to be for me, but like I said, I'm going to keep trying. Okay, question number 7, a popular book trope that you're tired of seeing. I'm going to tell you my least favorite trope of all time, and I'm so sorry because once you see it, you cannot unsee it because it's everywhere. It is used, I don't want to say constantly, but it is used a lot, and I hate it with a visceral, fiery passion. Personally, I don't mind a love triangle. I actually quite like a good, juicy, back and forth love triangle. I think it adds tension and interest. It can give you, you know, somebody to root for throughout a series. Like, I don't mind a love triangle. But there is a very specific kind of love triangle that I detest. And I've never heard anybody else talk about this, so I don't know if it has a name. I call it the "they were evil all along" love triangle. And it's a very specific kind of love triangle, and it goes like this. You start the story with character A and character B in some kind of committed relationship. They're a longtime girlfriend, they're engaged, they're married, what have you. And then comes along character C, okay? And character C turns the head of character A. And the actual romance of the story is between character A and character C, if only character A weren't in this committed relationship. And so throughout the story, there is, at the very least, emotional cheating, if not just actual cheating. And then at the end of the story, we find out that character B was evil all along. This can be anything from like literally being evil, being a double agent, that type of thing. Or it turns out that they were themselves cheating, or that they themselves are just a really bad person on some level. Or the main character finally discovers that they were just laughably not for them, right? They just were laughably on opposite sides of some opinion or philosophy about life or something. And this alleviates any consequences, any responsibility of our character A and character C having cheated, right? If character B was evil all along, then the fact that these two people fell in love and cheated in some way is totally fine. They, nor the audience, are gonna have to feel guilty about rooting for them. And I just I hate it so much. I find it lazy. I find it disrespectful. And it's not that I hate cheating in stories per se. It's just that if you're gonna have a character cheat, there have to be consequences. Man up and give them consequences. Don't just cop out and make their long-term partner evil in some way. Like, that is just, again, it's lazy. I found this in books. I found this in movies and TV shows. Like, it is insidiously popular. Like, it is just an insidiously popular trope that is used a lot, and I need it to die. I need it to die. Question number 8 is a popular book series that you have no interest in reading. There are a lot of popular series I have no interest in reading. I would say the first one that comes to mind is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which isn't exactly fair because I did attempt that book, but I did not get very far. I almost want to say Fourth Wing, but again, that's one of those books that, similar to ACOTAR, is like getting people to read that don't typically read. And there's just something about that like I want to have an opinion on that book, because I have people in my life that don't read, like they're not readers, and they're like, oh yeah, like I'm reading Fourth Wing, or I read Fourth Wing, and I'm like, I don't know, I find that so surprising and also alluring, right? Like, I want to have an opinion on it one way or another. So I don't know, but again, I have strong feelings that that book will not be for me. There are several like really popular staple fantasy series that I genuinely have no interest in reading, but I do know that I will try to read them one day just because they are so popular and they are staples. The Wheel of Time, I genuinely have no interest in reading that series. It is, what, 14, 15 books long. Even the diehard fans are like, yeah, it kind of sucks in the middle. There's like a string of multiple books in the middle that everyone agrees are just a slog. But it's okay, because once you get to book 11 or 12, it gets better. Like, the whole idea of that makes me want to die. Malazan is another one that I just have absolutely no interest in, but I'll probably attempt one day, and you know, who knows, it might change my mind. But the things that people praise about Malazan, I just don't really care about, so okay, and the last question is, the saying goes, the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV show adaptation do you prefer more than the books? This is a pretty classic answer, but I'm still gonna give it anyway. The Lord of the Rings. These are my favorite movies of all time. I love them with my whole heart. I think they are absolute masterpieces. Just everything about them is fantastic. I have read The Fellowship of the Ring, but I did sort of struggle my way through it. So yes, I would say that I still prefer the movies over the books. I also think that the first season of the Shadow and Bone television show on Netflix was pretty good. I don't know if I necessarily prefer it to the books, but I thought it was like on par, at least with the books. I liked it. I liked the inclusion of the Six of Crows characters in their own little prequel story. Like, I liked how it was all woven together. I thought the casting choices were good. I have watched a fair amount of adaptations. A lot of the ones that I really love, I haven't actually read the books for. So, for example, the show You on Netflix, I think that is such a fun show. Especially the first 2 seasons were very, very good. I also loved the Vampire Diaries back in the day. Like, God, that was my jam. The first 4 seasons of the Vampire Diaries were so good. Pretty Little Liars. I watched Big Little Lies on HBO. I don't know, I've seen a lot of adaptations. I can't say whether or not they were better than the books. Well, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave some of your unpopular opinions in the comments. If you want to answer any of these questions for yourself, please feel free. I would love to read your unpopular opinions. Try to keep them spoiler free if you can. If you want to know what series I'm currently in the middle of, you can check this video out right here. Please like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I hope to see you next time. Bye!